Hello everyone. Hello, happy Sunday. I am just going to wait just a couple minutes to make sure I am here. Hi Susan, you are first here today. How are things going with you? So nice to see you. Hi Mrs. Gigi. I am just doing a little bit of stamping. I am getting ready to put, hi Vicki, together. Hi Azure Muse. Long time no see. Welcome, welcome. Hi Patricia. Hi Tammy. I have a rainy day going on today. It's not, not storming or anything. It's just, a rainy day, and I have lost power a couple of times, and there really isn't any reason for it. Hello, Raven and Betty. That's nice to hear, Susan. Hi, Vicki. Glad to hear it. So I'm getting ready to put together serendipity collage kits. And I'm thinking about frogs. Yeah, to go into a Find It book. Frogs. I'm stamping to put into fish bits and things like that. Little bit of frogs. I have some other ones that I wanted to stamp, but I am going to get on with it because I have a great big huge toy box to get through today. I have been looking around and trying to find all my toy box stuffs, all my little stuffies, and I have stuff everywhere, and I've got a lot of stuff, and I've tried to list everything, but every time I list something else comes up. I find something new or something that I hadn't remembered that I even have. So I'm going to try to go down my list, but I've got so much, and it's all in different places. So you had a hard time getting on. All right. So my toy box, guys. Happy Sunday, everybody. So glad you guys are here. So glad you're here. I have, I've got craziness going on here, guys. I have got craziness going on. So I was not able to just concentrate on putting all my toys together. So I've got them everywhere still, but I think I've got a list down so I can find everything. I want to show what I have in my toy box, and I want to kind of demonstrate how I use some of this stuff. As you guys know, my toy box is full of things that I find, that I repurpose from the kitchen or the bathroom, things I find at the Dollar Tree, things that I make, and just different things. Now, I made a, here's more. I made and there's more. I've got other stuff. I mean, I've got it everywhere, guys. I've got it everywhere. So let's see. What should I start out with? I should go down my list, but then again, I should probably go through each box and play in there. Hi, Linda and Debbie. Debbie, what a fabulous book. All your fish bits. It was so much fun for me to watch and see what you did with those things that I sent you and things that you added to it, and just the arrangements, just absolutely wonderful. So I am all over the place, guys, and I don't even want to get into my nonsense, but I'm having a difficult time finding time for making the videos. I have started doing, I should tell you. Hi, Janet. Hi, Muriel. I have started doing the prompt videos. I have not posted any because I'm not thrilled with them. And maybe you guys can help me as I am doing this video. I'm having issues with the focus, and I'm having issues with the shadows, and then I'm having issues with my maintenance crew who decided to use a leaf blower on my roof right at the end of one of my videos. Hi, Carrie. And scared the you-know-what out of me, and it was so loud and obnoxious I can't use the video. It's like, come on. I finally got one that I kind of like, and I can't use it. So I'm just going absolutely crazy with that kind of thing. And I'm also here's the question about the videos themselves. Do you guys do you want me to turn the autofocus off? If I turn the autofocus off, you cannot see details like, if I'm stamping something, you can't see the details of it. Or the details of, here's my toys are falling apart. That kind of thing. But I have a hard time sometimes trying to get it to focus back and forth. What knife did I have a knife? Did I have a knife? I don't remember having a knife. So, knife is fork. Oh, fork. Yeah, and my fork. It's plastic. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Hi, Jennifer. So, I like to show the details of things, but I was having issues with the focus. It was driving me crazy. It would not focus. And I still haven't found my little focus sheet, and this one wasn't working, and so you guys do like to see the details. Okay, all right. I will try to work around it, but I was pretty frustrated there trying to get my camera to behave. All right, so let's see what's on the first on my list. And I hope I have everything here. All right, I'm going to start out with, you know what, it would be time efficient if I were just to go through the little baskets and things that I have and show everything in the basket, and then I'll go down the list. No, that's okay. I wasn't sure. Oh, the register rolls. You have a friend that's giving them to you. That is fabulous. I love these things. And this one keeps falling out. These are tape register rolls. If you know someone that is a cashier and uses a cash register to ring up things, these are the rolls that the receipt paper is rolled on. These make great stamps by themselves. This one I have rubber banded together, 7 of them to make a flower shape. And since I have it out here, and I was doing videos, so I've got bits of paper that I was painting for the videos. You know what I mean. I'm all over the place. My mind is just crazy right now. And that's just the video part of it. I have a family reunion coming up. There is a family reunion coming up, and I do most of the research, or I have done most of the research for the family. And let me get a little palette out here. So I'm trying to update all the information so that I can send my information along so that they have it for the reunion. And I had a problem with my program, losing all my stuff, number one. And then number two, found another person in the family with a branch that I don't have any information on. So I am going to be absolutely swamped trying to get that information all into my family tree. So please excuse me. The family tree I need to get done for the family. They know where I live, and they can come and hunt me down if I don't get my work done. And out of self-preservation, I need to make sure that I give somebody this family tree so that they can use it. Because they will. They will hunt me down, and it will not be pretty. Especially with all this new information that I'm going to be able to add to the tree. And I just found this person. I just got in contact with this person 2 days ago. So I'm up to my eyeballs in so much new information. And I am trying to do the videos and everything at the same time. So I am painting on Maryland some acrylic paint onto these register rolls. And before it dries, I will show you what that looks like. It's a fun little flower type thing, and I really do. I enjoy them. I don't use them very often because I don't like cleaning up all the mess. But so these are the paper rolls from a cash register. I believe most registers would have, that they've got receipts that they're printing out. They have to have paper in them. And I bet most of them have plastic in the center. Some of them probably have cardboard. Paper of some sort, maybe. I don't know. But if you can find somebody that comes across these, have them save them for you, because they make great stamps. And now that I'm at a spot there that I can talk about this, like my toy box, I can go in many different directions at one time. So I guess having a list is going to be helpful, but I'm afraid that I'm just going to be all over the place. So let me clean this up a little bit so that it doesn't stick and it will continue to work. Put it to the side. The register rolls, you guys, this is what I made my rolling pin out of, and I'm trying to do this video as well. I went a little crazy again. I went nuts. But I will get into that in just a second. It kind of ties in. I want to show, this is part of my toy box. It is a, let me turn on my fan, I'm getting hot. It is a rolling pin type thing. It is a stamp. Let me show you how it stamps before I get too far. It's like a rolling pin that I made because I couldn't find a children's rolling pin at the time. So this is how I stamp it, or I ink it up. Hi, Emma. And this is what it looks like. It's my chevron one. I like the chevron one. Use up all the ink. And how I made that is one of these register roll tape thingy-majiggers. It's a piece of plastic. Yes, Marielle, your English is perfect. I definitely forget the words for things all the time. So that's what's inside of this. This is how I've made it. I used one of those register rolls. It's a piece of plastic that's got a hole in it. I wrapped that with some cardboard to make it a certain size, and I've got a bunch of tubes that I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning on doing this, that I put the fun foam shapes onto. Hi, Dixie. You found a Hero Art Circle stamp. Fabulous. They are so hard to come by. So I have these tubes, and I put different shapes on them, or I will be putting different shapes on them. So it's got a certain opening, and I wrapped my cardboard around to be the size so I could get it into this shape without any excess around it, but I can still get it in and out. And then I wrapped it with duct tape. I bet that's a great find. So that way I've got a little plastic thing in there, and I used chopsticks to put the chopsticks in so that it would roll easily on the with the cardboard pattern thing on top. So my ultimate goal is to have a bunch of different patterns that I can use with this. So I had made this, and then of course I found a rolling pin, and this size fits an exact paper towels, the paper towel thingy. And so and of course I haven't used any more of these, but I plan to do it soon, eventually. Some shapes on these. And so it's just a rolling pin with a paper tube on it with some fun foam shapes glued onto it. This takes a long time to do because since it's curved, the surface is curved, you kind of have to hold the shape with the glue on there until it's firm enough to stay on its own. You can't just glue it and move on. You have to kind of hold it there for a couple minutes. So this took me a couple hours to do, and that's probably why I haven't done any more. But this is this pattern, and I love that one. I'm looking forward to doing more of this one, of this kind of thing. So that is another part of my toy box, is the rolling pin. And on that same note, as I was messing around with rolling pin bits, so this is one of the tubes that I have to use. Where did I found the rolling pin in the children's section at IKEA. But I found it about a year ago, so I'm not sure if they still have them. Okay. But what I do want to say is I was messing around with my lint roller. This is another one that I like to use a lot. This is a lint roller that I got at the Dollar Tree. It still has a little bit of the papers on there, but I wrapped it in a piece of cardboard. Actually, it's junk mail. And then I put different thicknesses of rubber bands on the top of it to hold that junk mail in place, because there were still papers on it. It was still a little sticky, and it was causing a little bit of chaos there. So I have the rubber bands, and they're kind of wavy. I can move them around and make different designs, or make them straight, or whatever. Let's see if I can like move them around and let them get a little wavy today. And I like this one. This one was easier for me to find since I got this at the Dollar Tree. And so these are just regular rubber bands, and it just rolls like any of the other rollers. And if you ink it up well enough, it does make lines. Oh, you found a mini rolling pin at Old Navy? They had a small section of mini cooking tools out. Well, that's interesting. So I absolutely love the lint roller because it was from the Dollar Tree. So I actually have a I got the fun foam shapes at the Dollar Tree, the farm animal ones, and I got the sheep out there. It actually fits around this. I put a rubber band on it to hold it on, and then I use that for a stamp as well. And that's what I was going to use it with. But as I was messing around with it, I took it out of this and then realized that these little tubes that I have fit in there perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. And these tubes are shipping label. They're the center part of shipping label rolls. I had somebody saving them for me at one point because I wanted to do something like this. Had no idea it was the exact size I needed for this tool. So I will be using this to be putting some stuff on. Now my next little project with these is the O-rings. These you find in the hardware store in the plumber's department. They are little rubberized. I'm not sure if they're rubber. I don't know if they are. Hi, Goddess World. Do you save all kinds of things after watching my toy box videos? Yes. I create. Create monsters this way. These are absolutely fabulous. Okay. And I went absolutely crazy with these. I have to show you. I have been figuring out what sizes I need for circle stamps, and we're going to have to try these out. I'm going to have to try them out. These are what they are. They're just rubber-like rings. And my next step is to start gluing them on. Hi, Roesta. Gluing them on randomly different sizes and making some more patterned rollers. So I don't have time to do it in the near future, but that is my next step for the lint rollers. And I like the lint roller idea more than I like the rolling pin because this is so easily found at anywhere. If you can find the right kinds of tubes to put on them, you can make all kinds of things out of these lint rollers, and they're so easy to use. You know, just ink them up and roll them. Well, you know, when Caged goes crazy, she really goes crazy. These are just some that were the same size that I want to do something with. I bought, you have no idea. I don't even want to admit how much money I spent on O-rings. I bought, I went to the hardware store. They had them in single bits, 50 cents for each ring, and different widths and different sizes. So I spent a lot of money getting all the different sizes so that I could put the different sizes together correctly to make I don't like it when it's my fault. So that I can make different sized rings and see how they work. I made these and I have not had a chance to test them yet. I just made them yesterday. So what I did was I glued the O-ring on a piece of cardboard the way I wanted it. And what I will do, as I've trimmed some of them off, what I will do is use the repositionable or the removable double-sided tape and tape them onto a block and test them out that way. I used to glue my stamps, my handmade stamps, onto a piece of cardboard. I have since stopped doing that because the cardboard smushes flat after a while, number one. Number two, after a while, you know, you're making a few stamps and you run out of room. I have noticed that if I put them on a piece of cardstock or a flat piece of cardboard, oops, I need a new piece of tape, I think. It saves space, and I can here's one of them. So there's one. Let's do one of the simple ones. This is one of the first ones that I did. Some of the rings are thin and some of them are a little bit thicker, so I'm hoping that they will make a bit of a design. Kind of hoping. And probably if I had a mat underneath it, it would help too. All right. I'm just a nice excuse. As long as he doesn't hunt me down and hurt me, I can be an excuse. Oh, look at that one, guys. Look at that one. We are getting there. This one is only 4 rings. And this is the other one that I made a little bit smaller rings. This took me forever. And like I said, okay, so I might as well own up to what I did. I planted myself in front of all these little bins in the hardware store and got one of every size of the eighth of an inch high, 3 32nds high, and 1/16 high. And that ended up to be about, I want to say it was close to 70 rings. I needed one of every size so that I could nestle them together because they come in such variations that, and I tried to think of it logically and had to go back and get more. That one also is pretty nice. I'm an ocean away, so I'm safe. Oh, here's another one. This is number 3. Let's just give it a try. I haven't trimmed it up yet, but so I thought about it logically. I mean, a 1-inch diameter ring should fit into the inside diameter 1 inch, but it doesn't. There's just not enough room in the center of them. So I had to get every little dimension of them so that there would be enough space in between each ring. And I couldn't figure it out with all the different dimensions, 9/16 and, 7/6 or 6/7, and I just couldn't think of it logically. So I had to get an example of each one of the rings and play around with them and write them all down and figure out which rings made which stamps, and Just craziness. Craziness. So I ended up spending, it was about $40 on the first batch of stamps, on the first batch of rings. Oh, and I had it on the edge of the mat, so of course it didn't stamp correctly. So let me try it one more time. But that one's pretty nice too. And I like the fact that they are, it would be nice if I actually put ink on the stamp. I like the fact that they are different sizes. They have a different amount of rings in each one. And they're different thicknesses. So I wrote down the formula for each one so that I can recreate them. And then went back to the hardware store and got a great big container at Lowe's with a bunch of different rings in it. I think I'll be able to go online. See, this is me. This is desperate caged. So I like that one. I do like that one. I like number 3. Is there any of them that I don't like so far? Let's do number 2 and see what that ends up to look like. I'll put 2 right there. Thank you for shopping at Lowe's. It was the hardware store that was near where I was at the time, so that's where I went. So I think what I'm going to have to do if I want to produce some stamps for sale is go online and get the numbers that I need in bulk instead of paying 50 cents for every single ring. I spent a fortune. $40 was the amount that I started out with, and then I went and got more. So yeah, I've got a couple of rings to do things with, but I want to make, oh, I was going to put it over here. I want to make a rolling pin or a lint roller brush with some of them. I think that would be really fun to have. I just don't have time to, I know, Vicki, I know. I thought it was funny too. I just don't have time to mess around with it right now. Oops. But, and like I said, I didn't get a chance to test them all, so I'm testing them all now here with you guys. I should be doing the toy box tour. Did I do number 5 yet? I don't think I did. Let's hurry up with these testings. But anyway, I have got Aunt Sandra and Uncle E sent me some. Uncle E spent a long time cutting up pieces of wood that they were going to throw away into stamp size blocks so that I can make some stamps. And so this is on the horizon for the future, not necessarily in the next month. I've got to do the family thing first. Oh, my computer messes with me too. Yes, it is a danger with cheap and homemade. We get carried away when shopping and trying things. So I haven't found one of these that I don't like yet. I like them all. This one is a little bit wide for me, but it's interesting enough. Okay, so let's try this little tiny one. And let's get on with it. Let's go on back on to the toy box tour. I got sidetracked here. But it's fun. it's really fun to see what these stamps are doing. That I didn't waste my time entirely, and that I am going in the right direction. Hi, Carol. Oh, yeah. So why won't it focus that way? Oh, yeah, we're there. We are there. I like it. So I usually leave my stamps on just a piece of cardstock at this point. I don't put them on a base very often anymore. I save so much room by just leaving them plain, leaving a piece of tape on them and putting them and using, when I use them, I use the acrylic blocks for them. So that way I can put like 50 leaves in this little box. If I had them all on blocks or some kind of hard stamping something, they would just take up too much space at this point. I just don't have that much room. I just do not have that much room. So this one, I did kind of in that kind of a way. I off-centered the circles. Hi, Cheryl. So, yep. I think we found a winner, guys. I think we found a winner. I really do like the stamps that these rings make. They stamp really well. They're a little tricky to glue so that they are completely round. You kind of have to move them around and make sure that they aren't ovalish. But for the most part, I think this might be the way to go. Oops, uh-oh, uh-oh. That one I didn't glue well enough. I probably moved it while it was dry and didn't realize. So I have to redo that one. But still a very, very nice thick line for that one. So that has been my latest crazy endeavor. And on back to the toy box tour. All right. I just wanted to get that out. Well, I got 3 of the toy box items taken care of. The tape registers, rolls that are still wet and dirty. Maybe if I dump them in water a little bit. Okay, yeah, they are really nice and dirty. All right. Of course, I have lids, all kinds of different kinds of lids in my toy box. We all know what those do. I've got different sizes. I'm not going to demonstrate them because, you know, they do what they do. I also have the tape rolls. These are Scotch tape rolls that give you a double line. And we all know what those look like too. I also have, I think this is medical tape, some kind of tape. But I like that kind of a roll as well, or that kind of a circle. Let's open up so we can see what it looks like. Thank you all for your thumbs up. You guys are fabulous. And that's a really thin little line. But sometimes it's nice to have a very thin line. So I save all kinds of circles to stamp with. A medicine bottle has the little grooves in the top. And I do like that one. Except I didn't get it inked up enough. Sometimes these are better with paint. But it should give you a little design. And I do like my spools. I like this one because I bought this thread, and I'm trying to use it before I play with the spool too much, but I did buy the thread because the spool had circles on the ends. I got this at Hobby Lobby, and I don't remember exactly what it is. So Sewology. It wasn't that expensive, $2.29. But I really like the circles. Need I say more? So I like my spools. Here's that one. Would be better with paint. And let's see if we can get this one done. You can see it. I do like circles. And when I come across something like that, here's a concentric circle stamp already made, and all you have to do is go buy it. That is it. Let me get the ink off of it, put it back up so I can sew with that again. And I'm trying to use up this pink thread so I can have this spool, but it's lasting a very long time. All right. So other things in my toy box here, in this little toy box, a fork, all the things that I use to stamp. I like the lines of the fork. I did have one before that was thicker lines, and I don't know what happened to that fork. But those are just some fine lines from the fork. I do have the egg dippers from the egg dies, and these work better with paint, but they're really fine lines as well. I usually dip them into paint and make marks with those. Another one that I use is, this is it's a cup holder. When you go through a drive-through fast food place and you get more than one drink, you get a few drinks, and they give you the cup holders to put the drinks in so that you can get them back to work. I cut the bottoms of those off because that's the shape that was there, and they do stamp up really well. I just like the shape. Don't know why. I guess it could, because it's a little different. And I didn't stamp it, or I didn't ink it well enough, but it gives it a nice little shape, and I really like that. So I have those in my box. I have another tape holder. I have beads. It's just a string of beads. And I will drag those through paint and drag them through on my paper to make little scratchy lines. Turns out okay. And then I've got some little bits of pieces. Funny that you should say you found things. You found Debbie, you found that little hexagon plastic bit on the beach, because that's where I found these, on the beach in Oregon. I love to beachcomb myself, and I thought, you know, those would probably do some stamping as well. So I picked them up and put them in my toy box. Underwear shape. So that works really well. I like that one. And so it's just a plastic, well, that one's a foam mesh. It was probably part of a shoe or something, is what I'm thinking from the shape of that one. And this one is just a plastic mesh. Who knows where that came from? And I didn't get it inked up well enough. So we can't see it. This again probably would be better with some acrylic paint on it. I love finding things on the beach too. This one doesn't print as well because it is made of plastic, but it's great for acrylic paint. You could brush a little bit of acrylic paint on that and it would work really well. Put a little bit of blue, I guess. See what we can do here. And I do like painting the acrylic paint on the things because you don't get a glob of paint. So that works. It works pretty well. Wash that off so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Another one that I have in this box, this is a little, it's a piece of, excuse me, you know the mats that are in the kitchen areas if you've ever waited tables or anything? It's the non-slip mats underneath where they cook. They're great big huge rubber mats. I came across one that was coming apart, and this was a piece on the floor that they probably would have swept up and thrown away. So, hi Lisa. So I picked that up because I liked the pattern that it had on it. I have not had a chance to try it out. So let me do that now and see what happens. See if it works. I bet it would. It's kind of an interesting shape. Let me brush some paint on it. And I got the acrylic inks out so that I wouldn't have to brush paint on, and I forgot about them already. So that gives a great pattern. I like that. I like that pattern. I like something that's a little bit different. So I'm always looking at the ground, and when I find something like this, I pick up these kinds of things all the time. And I don't look around to look at people giving me a funny look. What in the world is she picking up that stuff for? I just scoop it up and move along quickly and don't look around and get out of there before they tell me I can't have whatever it is I picked up. So there's that one. And then in this one is the dish drainer. It's a sink strainer, and I like using that as a stencil. Let me get a sponge. And makeup sponge here. I love this one as a stencil. It probably would stamp really nicely too. You know what? I don't think I've tried to stamp it. So it would be worth trying to see what would happen. But I love that one. What is TMT? Is Carol here? Did I miss Carol? Use all that ink up off my sponge here. I'm trying to get some little bits of painted papers and stuff done for these serendipity books as well. So I'm trying to get a lot of things done today in one little time here. So please excuse me. Oh, let's try. You know what? Let's use up this paint on something. I don't want to put it on that one. Let's use up this paint on something. Okay, and then let's put some acrylic inks on because that'll be easier to dip things into. All right, so I've got a toy from the Dollar Tree. It is a children's cooking thing, and I really like that. I like the tip that I can use as to scrape something, but I also like the shape of that. Let's use some yellow so we can see, and let me just take out my last little bit of toys and get this stuff out of the way. Then we can go on to the next toy box basket. Put some yellow down there. And so just putting a little bit of ink on that. A little bit, I put too much. You get a pattern. You get a pattern. A friend of yours gave me photos he took of you picking things up. That's hilarious. So I'm not the only one. Nice to know. I was going to do that with this little dish drainer. But anyway, that's a cute little children's toys. I love the children's toys, and I always look at the kids' toys. So let's use this and dip it in some ink. And see if it makes a pattern. And all the little holes are full. Little bubbles in the hole, so I'm trying to get them out. Let's see. Let's see what happens. So it does make an interesting pattern. Not the best, but not the best. I like it for stenciling more. And that made a great big huge mess. But anyway, you get the gist. You get the gist. Gonna clean up my toy before I put it back in the box. So I don't make a huge mess. Let me put this to the side because it's all wet. I'll bring this one back. This one, these are my Legos, and I have the Duplo set. This one is the larger one. I like those little 4 holes there, and they do stamp kind of, but not great. The spatula might be good as a stencil. Oh, maybe, yeah. We could try that before I put it away, but so I like the little circles that makes. And these are generic Legos, so they don't have the logo on the little dots there. I didn't want to take the time to sand off the little logos and it being rough and it not being straight, so yeah. So finding the generic ones was very helpful. And they came in different sizes, so there's 6 and 8 blocks. And they work so much better than the expensive Legos do. Because there's no logo on the tips, they actually connect to the paper and actually leave ink spots there. So I was very, very happy with that. And I do have different sizes of these. So I can use those. Let's go back to the spatula and use it as a stencil. It might be too thick, but we can try it. Let's see if I can get the sponge down in there. Kind of. Yeah. It does kind of work as a stencil. Little lines. It works well enough. Alright. So that is the first box. I need to clean that up. It is a mess. Alright. The next box, what do I have in here? I have another sink drainer. Here's a larger one of the generic blocks. More tape rolls. More circles. A cap. Another little dish or sink strainer. It's just the same kind of thing. It's just that the holes are smaller. This is the cap from a spice jar. And it works all right. Somebody said that it looked like an old movie reel, which I thought was funny. You got to press the center so it will connect with the paper, is the only thing. Kathleen. So it works as an interesting little pattern. It's something different that you don't have to pay for. It's something that won't go into a landfill if you throw it away. Save it from the landfills. So that is that one. And another thing that I like to use is buttons. They will have different kinds of grooves in them. I like to glue them down if they have an interesting shape to them. And of course, I like to glue them on a piece of cardboard or something so I don't get my fingers all inky. So it's not really a circle, it's kind of a something else. This one has a lot of grooves in it. It does look like an old movie reel. Yeah. Yeah. So you can get different size buttons, put them together for a kind of a pattern, and well, that one didn't stamp very well. It's got a lot more grooves in it, but they obviously don't connect with the paper. But I mean, you just have to take a look and see what you've got and see if it will actually work, and then glue it in a pattern on a piece of cardstock or something and stamp with it. So buttons are good. Buttons work very well, and I've got a few of them in there. I like that one too. So it's a different shape. It's something a little different. I'll have to remember that I really like that one. So, and then this is a belt buckle of some sort. I don't know what, but same kind of thing. If you put it on a base or something and use that as a shape. I probably didn't ink it up well enough. But you get the idea. It's an interesting kind of shape. So I'm always looking for things with a different shape to it. A lid or something. So that is that toy box. Going through them pretty fast. I've got quite a few more to go. All right. Let's get this one out here. This is one of my favorites, guys. Can anyone guess what it is? What I'm going to pull out next? Can you guess? Can you guess? And I should have gotten a crayon for this one. It's the flip-flop. It's my favorite thing. The flip-flop. I absolutely love this thing. So look at the bottoms of your shoes. You might have a wonderful pattern that needs to be used. I always ask people to see the bottoms of their feet. Can I see the bottoms of your shoes? And people stop giving me the funny looks now. They just do what I ask and don't ask any questions. But here is a crayon rubbing of this pattern, and this one's my favorite. I like that one. Hi, Amber. I have a couple other ones. I have a zigzag one. You can stamp with these. You can do crayon rubbings. Let's do a stamp. Let's stamp with something. Let's stamp with this one and see what it looks like. This one has two different patterns on it. One side's like a polka dot kind of thing, and one side's a checkerboard. So I can't tell if it's getting any ink on here, on the black. I can't see it. I think there is. Your Nike flip-flops have a very different pattern. I just love them. I guess it was. I just couldn't see it on the black. But that is like a perfect little checkerboard there. The other side, let's see what it does. It's got little polka dots. So that one's good. I love this pattern. And they stamp really well, considering, you know what I mean? It's a flip-flop. They're not made for stamping, but... Hi, Scotty. They stamp really well. Flip-flops stamp really well. I don't know why that is, but they sure do. Love those. And since we're stamping all the flip-flops, let's stamp the zigzag. Gotta stamp the zigzag too. The zigzag. Hi, Tilda. I just love the zigzag too. Yeah. I got that last one. I got this past year, I think, right at Christmas time. It was in the clearance section for $3, and I didn't think I wanted to spend that much for them. And I got to the checkout, and they were only $1 for 2 of them. So those are the flip-flops. Here is another tool that oh no, you just threw away 3 pairs of shoes today and you didn't look at the bottoms of them? Oh no. This is a massage tool that I got at the Dollar Tree, and it makes little tiny dots. It does not do very well, and I meant to clip these off the tips. Kathleen, are you the one that clipped off the tips of... Oh, it's not going to take me as long as I thought it would. Clip the tips of them off, and it makes a better pattern. So I meant to do it before the stream. Because I don't like the little thin dots. Let's see if I can make them fairly even. There's a lot of them. You'd think I'd be there by now. Yep, I'm there, finally. And I have all these little plastic dots everywhere. Can you hear them falling? Did you hear them falling? Got little plastic bits everywhere. Alright, so let's use black so we can actually see. I thought they'd be hollow, but they're not. Let's see if I cut them even. See if they work any better. Hi, Tammy. Sure, you can make, I make cardstock signatures all the time. I like the thicknesses of the paper. See, I like that a little bit better. I'll have to go back and trim it so it's a little bit more even. And I kind of like the fact that some of them are hollow and some of them are solid. But they are much bigger and a little bit more interesting than they were before, so it's a little bit better. A little bit better. I don't think the cardstock is too thick for signatures. I like thick pages. I like sturdy pages, so it works for me. The few that I've done, I've enjoyed. Here's a baster. Just a regular baster. And this, I'd actually gotten this to splatter paint, and it didn't splatter real well. And so I kind of use it to just put some little bits of color on in very light little, I can show you. They are not firm little bristles, so they bend and they don't add a lot of paint to the surface. But they add enough to put a layer, put some interest in there. Hi, Kate. So I use it every once in a while, not a lot. And then the egg beater. Let's put a different color. Let's get a different color going. Different color. Put the egg beater on top of this stuff. A little bit of blue. Okay, this is splattering everywhere. So do it slowly. But I like it. I do. Got paint everywhere now. I splattered my hands and everything. So time for another baby wipe. Time for another baby wipe. Clean up my mess because I have splattered paint everywhere. Everywhere. And I'm trying to clean up as I go here so it doesn't get really difficult to clean up afterwards. The egg beater is pretty cool. I like the egg beater. I like that one. It is kind of messy, so I don't use it very often, but I do like the results of that one. The chopsticks, you know, I use the chopsticks to dip in paint. And then I scrape the paint with the chopstick. Usually I do this with acrylic. So a chopstick, that's in my toy box as well. Just wanted to put it out there. And I think that is it for this basket. Let's go on to the next one. Let's let that one dry. I think that's kind of cool. So let's let that dry. And come up with another piece of paper. And I did most of these pieces of paper in my videos for acrylic paint techniques. So I'm just adding stuff on top for fish bits. You can't let any of this stuff go to waste. All right. So then I've got sponges, and that's what this one is done with. The different size sponges will give you different textures. This is the large sponge, and this over here is the small, no pattern really to it sponge. It still gives a nice texture. I'm not gonna mess them all up. I love the little kitchen scrubby as well. The kitchen scrubby is pretty good for a little bit of texture. I might need to put some more ink in there. It gives just a little bit of texture. If you get more ink or more paint on there, it will give you more texture than that. But it can be kind of fun. So those are the sponges. These are in the acrylic techniques. I have this great big huge roller that I got at the Dollar Tree. I think it was a sand. It's for the kids to play in the sand with, I think. I wasn't really thrilled with this one, and this is going to find another home. I don't know where it's going, but it takes up too much space, and it really doesn't do a whole lot of anything. And yeah, it picks up a little bit of paint, but it's not making me happy. So it's going to go bye-bye. It is huge. It takes up a lot of space, and it doesn't really do anything. The little designs are cool, but it doesn't transfer. Guess I should get the ink off of there before I get it on the carpet or something, huh? It just doesn't transfer. You would think it would do something. I was very disappointed when I got it home and it just didn't do anything. So I'm ditching that. It's going someplace else. But I did use these in the video. It's the Dollar Tree. It's a package of 2 patterned foam brayers. I demonstrated these in the video. They work really well. A lot better than I expected them to. So I will be using these or putting these in my toy box somewhere to use. I'm not going to show them right now. It's just one more thing to clean up. All right. So here is, okay, if I can get it up here. Here's a big toy box with all kinds of other stuff in it. We're running out of time. I like mats and things like that. I find these kinds of shelf liners. This is a clementine cover. It's the netting that went over the clementines. It's sale in the grocery store. I really like these kinds of things for stenciling. Let me get a different sponge. Where are all my sponges at? I did have some. I had some. Where did they go? But I like these for adding texture. So these are kind of found stencils. So I like those a lot. And I have a bunch of these somewhere. Different types. I have a pile with the bubble wrap. Where is it? Right there. I found it. The bubble wrap also is one of my toys. Let's continue on with the different kinds of mesh. You've got shelf liners. You've got, all kinds of different kinds of things like that. I like to use spray inks with this one because they're kind of thick. You can't always get a sponge down in there. You can kind of paint some of these. I'll do the circle one. You can put some paint on them, or inks, acrylic, whatever. And how do you know where my sponges are? If you get a nicer color, it does make a nice little pattern. How do you know where my sponges are, Patricia? Have you been watching me? That's sad if you guys know where all my stuff is better than I know where it is. So I enjoy those kinds of mats and grids and that kind of thing. I've got some more somewhere. Bubble wrap is another one of those wonderful things that I use. I do have, here it is, a block that I use to wrap my bubble wrap around in so that I can stamp with it. It's just a small space. Okay, I guess I need some more inks on there. Bye, Lisa. Oops. And then I got too much. And of course I like the different sizes of bubble wrap to do all kinds of fun things with. So I used to use it all the time, and I haven't used it in a while. But I like the bubble wrap. If you don't want a small area, you can use a bigger piece of bubble wrap and just, get some of the inks or paints or whatever. I use ink pads with them too, and just stamp randomly with a big old piece. Both ways work. All the different kinds of bubble wrap. I like the big bubble wrap sometimes. You know, I like it with watercolors. And that is it for, oh, here's another Clementine's. This one's a diamond shape mat. That's in my toy box. And, well, let's see if I've got one over here. All right. All right. I need to use up that ink somewhere. We'll just do that. All right. Over here, I have got, let's get this out of the way. The fun foam. We need a dry piece of paper. You know I love the fun foam. We're going to get a clean piece of paper for this one, because I have got a lot of different patterns that I have gotten over the years. These 5 came from a pack that I got at Joann's a couple of years ago, and I have not seen them since. So you can find these in usually the children's part, the children's crafts. I found these 5 at the Dollar Tree. They come in a package that looks like that. And they've got some wonderful patterns. And we are going to play around with those patterns. We'll do red. This one's a zigzag. We see that. This one is triangles. And I do not want to get paint on my fun foam. Thank you. Triangles. I like the triangles a lot. I really enjoyed the triangles. That's my favorite one of that pack. And you wouldn't think that it's not indented very well. You wouldn't think that it would give a good pattern, but it really does. This one is polka dots. You can see it better there. This one is squiggly lines. And this one is straight lines. Those are all the Dollar Tree foam patterns. And for the other ones, we will use another color of ink. I'll use the blue here. My favorite, you guys have seen this one before. It's the wiggly lines. It's the wiggly lines. Oh, they would be good around a rolling pin. I hadn't thought about it. This one is just a texture. I have never used it. I don't care to. I think that it would be kind of ugly, so I've never used it. Of course, I probably should use it and see what it looks like, but I'm not that adventurous today. You finally found some of the fun foam at the Dollar Tree? This one is kind of a, I guess it's a zigzag scallop thing. Oh, it's polka dots. It's a polka dot. It comes out polka dots. Well, that's fabulous. And this one's a polka dots too. The wavy lines are my favorite. The wavy lines. So those are in my toy box as well. All the fun foam bits. I found I found that at the Dollar Tree as well. I did find that one at the Dollar Tree. So those are the fun foam ones. You know, I like me some fun foam. Get those out of the way. Let's get into, well, let's go back through this box. Here is a trivet. It is, and Cat Hand gave me this little piece. These are silicone, I think, and they stamp really nice. They pick up the inks really, really nice. I've just used them for stamping. But I'm sure you could use them with acrylic as well. So they work nicely. So I like those. Here's another stencil-like thing. It's from a box of pennies. It's the bottom part of the box, and it's too thick to actually do any stamping through. You have to use a spray ink or something with them, or a pen. You make the little circles around them or paint inside them. I like to use these with spray inks. But it is a stencil for circles. And Dollar Tree, the kitchen mats. I think these are supposed to go in the bottom of your kitchen sink. Another thing that you can spray inks over, but I like to draw inside the shapes. I don't know why I like that, but I do. And then we have also the cross-stitch mesh. I'm going to sneeze, guys. Give me a second. Sorry, had to sneeze there. A little drink of iced tea. I need some more caffeine in my life. Okay, so I have cross stitch mesh. I've got some different size squares that I use in different ways. You can use a paintbrush and get ink or get paint through the mesh. I've got some circle ones that are fun. These are kind of nice for, get another piece of paper. These are kind of nice for dipping into paint or brushing paint. Well, let's use a white. Let's use this white one. And I think that palette right there is pretty dry. I'm just going to put some white on top of it. If it mixes, it mixes. But what I do is I just dip my item into inks or acrylic paint and then put the pattern on the paper. For a pattern or for a little detail of something. You can see it. I use the other ones for that too, little squares. So it does make a little bit, it makes a nice little pattern, a little bit of something on top of something else. Hi, Shelly. I missed you on Friday. I did not get back from errands till like 9:30. I had to put groceries away and all that other stuff, and I was just too tired to deal with anything. Alright, so going through my basket here, I've got my little rubber band on cardboard. This one also is just a fun little stamp. Just makes little lines. Random little lines. So that one is fun. What else do I have? This one is when you buy a man's shirt in the store and I probably would have missed you then, huh, Shelly? It goes in the shirt collar when they're packaging up shirts to make them look nice so that we'll buy them. It's just a piece of plastic that keeps the collar stiff in the package. I use that as a stencil. And you know what? I'm just going to use some of this acrylic ink and try to see if that would work. It does. Little bit of lines there. Collar stays, is that what that is called? So I have a couple of those that I use, and I like texture tools. I don't ever use the ones that I bought because I usually make my own, or I use a fork, or I use combs, that kind of thing. And you can drag a texture tool through wet paint. You can scrape wet paint and reveal what there is underneath it. So I do use texture tools a bit. Another stencil. Let me get a different piece of paper out. I guess I can use that one. It's a drywall tape. Cat Hand showed this and I went crazy because of the little polka dots that it makes. So I need a black sponge. So I've got quite a bit of this drywall tape, and it is a wonderful stencil. It's nice and thin. You can paint it up with acrylic paints, with inks, with all kinds of different colors. And then you can actually use it on your page when it gets enough colors and stuff on it. But it makes a wonderful polka dot pattern. So I like the drywall tape a lot. Another one is, this one is a, back to the texture tools. When you get some packaging like this, you can cut into the edge to make texture tools on your own. I wouldn't recommend buying a texture tool. They're expensive. I mean, it's nice that they're even and all that stuff, but you can make your own from just about anything. Ooh, I don't have any drywall mesh tape. Little squares. Uh-oh. And I was just at the hardware store. I don't want to go back to the hardware store because I get in trouble with the hardware store, in the hardware store. So you can make your own texture tools with just kind of a piece of cardboard, packaging, whatever. Just cut in little, like all I did was just cut little, and they're not even. I just cut into it in a diagonal kind of way. You can make your ends as pointy as you would like, as thin as you would like. They're really easy to make. So this little Lego tool I got at the Dollar Tree. It's just the plate. They didn't have any of the Lego parts. It's a generic Lego something. They didn't have any of the Lego parts that went with it. They just had these boards. But this is what I'd been looking for a very, very long time. And so now I have a board. I probably should put a pad underneath here. Yeah. A board that will stamp if I can get it to stamp. It works better with acrylic paint or acrylic inks. Now that I've got all that on there. Oops. Now that I've tainted it, but if you get acrylic paints on there, let's use some of this ink. And you could use both sides of this too, which is nice. So it does make nice acrylic polka dots and different kind of polka dots on the other side. Just so we can see what it looks like. That side's getting too much stuff on it to be able to see. But the other one makes nice lines as well. Hello, Luana. So of course I have gotten myself acrylic inks all over the place. And I will be able to clean it up soon, I suppose. I was going to get into making your own stencils, and I guess I can talk about that a little bit. Let's see, what else do I have in here? I go to the party section for the making children's parties. I find little stencils. I found these stencils that I haven't opened yet. This came from, it had a stick on it. It's supposed to be one of those things that you put in your gardens, but I liked the little butterfly, so I will use that as a stencil a lot of times. Cardboard makes great stamps. That's a nice random pattern. I just roll up the ends and put it in acrylic paint usually and stamp with that, so that works really nicely too. Here are corn pads, I guess they are called. I put these on a plastic card and made a circle around them and used those as a stamp. Hi, Cheyenne. Is that how you say your name? Welcome, welcome. Punchinella is a great stencil. It makes great lines on it as well. Trying to get through my box here. And of course, all the handmade stamps, cookie cutters make great mark making tools. This one, of course, I haven't opened it yet. I got this after Christmas, so it cost me like 24 cents. I want to make some wands, and I thought that the star shape would be perfect, so I wouldn't have to figure out the star shapes. I'm going to use these as star shapes, so I don't have to figure it out. And then all the washers and O-rings that I've glued on cardboard to make stamps with as well. So the last thing is handmade stencils. This one was made by Em in Wyoming. She put it through a die cutting machine or something to make the circles. It's just a piece of file folder, and I need to start using that again, but it makes great random circles on things. So you can make your own stencils. This one is like it's just a square piece of paper, but it was folded like a snowflake, and I just cut it out of a magazine page, and I've used that as a stencil quite often. Even though it's made from just a piece of paper, it seems to be holding up quite well, considering. And when it starts to wear out, I'll just make another one. So those are, I need to clean that up. Those are those. So I wanted to talk about making your own stencils a little bit. I don't want to get this stuff all yucky. So, varnish the paper. Well, I had used acrylic paint, and that seemed to coat it pretty well, so it works pretty well. So you can make your own stencils from playing cards. Here's some flashcards. You could make, if you've got paper punches, I've got a star one, and I can never find it when I want to find it, but I always find it when I'm looking for a circle. Here it is. You could get a piece of packaging and poke holes in. Or, you know, we've got the paper punches that we all have. And I got some out here to do this with. So here's a star. So you could make a stencil. Just from a paper punch. So, and you've got all these little stars to do something with as well, which is fun. And this one is just little tiny stars. Nope, that's not the one. This is the one. Same thing. I have one, a piece of packaging, it's a hard plastic that has stars in it, so I can just stencil a few little stars here and there. So that's a star stencil. I'll have to put that in my toy box now and use it on something. But they work pretty well. just a little bit of stars. And you can do that with any shape. You know, playing cards work really well. If you use playing cards, then they're coated with plastic and they're really they're strong. They last a really long time when you do them with playing cards. You can actually cut out shapes and things with an X-Acto knife if you're really good with X-Acto knives. But that is one way to do it. I got this piece of felt. It's a patterned piece of felt, and I wanted to see if it would stamp, and I haven't had a chance to play around with it, so I am going to take a look right now and see if it will work. Let's just use some black. And I'm going to use one of those, so that an acrylic block, so that I press evenly on the whole thing. And it didn't work. I probably didn't get enough ink on it. Let's try it with a different color. Alright, let's see if I've got enough ink on it now. Well, if you get enough ink on it, I think it would work. So it might work eventually. So I wanted to talk about making your own stencil, and I only have 6 minutes left. So this is a piece of plastic that came on a fancy piece of scrapbook paper. So it's got two sides to it, and I am going to cut it apart. So that I have two pieces. Oops, kind of want it square there. All right. So I've got two pieces of this plastic, and I am going to just take one of them. And I'm going to do an accordion fold back and forth. Try to keep them kind of even. And I'm going to use a binder clip to clip the ends. Okay, let me clip it here so that I can get my hands around it while it's folded. Clip the end. Clip the other end. And I'm going to put a clip right in the center because it's poofy. It's poofing. Just to keep it flat while I cut into it for a minute. Let's see if that will work. I got it crooked. I have it crooked. Alright, let me put it on this side and then it won't buckle. Alright, so I am just going to, you can use some of your punches. I'm just going to cut into, and I'm not going to go all the way to the edge, all the way through, because you're just going to cut your piece of plastic in half, and then you won't have a stencil, you'll have two pieces of plastic. So let me cut into it on this side. I'm going to see if I can do a zigzag pattern. A random zigzag. And I need to move that over just a tad so I can get in there. And you can be really careful with this part. I am just trying to be fast. And then, so you can get it a little bit more even than I have. And then I'm going to go to the other side. And again, I'm not going to cut all the way through it, but I'm going to make a little triangle thing going on here. Let's see if we can make some kind of a pattern. All right. I need to cut all the way through. Oh, I just ripped it. I guess we're going to make a small one. My scissors don't want to cut through all those thicknesses. There we go. If I go a little bit slower, it will work. And if I cut off this little lip here too, might help a little bit too. All right. My scissors were getting caught on that. Alright, so now I've got all these little tiny pieces of plastic everywhere that need to be cleaned up. Before my cats find them and play with them all over the place. I'm going to take off my binder clips. And what I have here is a zigzag, you can't see it, a zigzag pattern. And if you take your time and make a nice little pattern with it, it would look a little bit better, but you would still have a stencil type thing. You could do this with circles or any kind of little patterns, like a leaf shape or anything. You just have to remember not to cut all the way through the strip of plastic or mangle it like I did. And you have a nice piece of, and if you use a thicker piece of plastic, it will last longer. It will be easier to use. And that's what I wanted to leave you with, making your own stencils. It's not really that difficult with items that you have just around. Nothing fancy. Leftover plastic from a magazine or something that you've gotten in the mail. It's got a plastic wrap on it. Pieces of packaging. if you take your time and cut nice shapes and kind of measure it out, or make it really random, it works really well. Okay, so I hope that helps somebody, anybody. And I think, let me go down my list of toy box things and see if I hit everything, or did I miss something? We have the fly swatters. I didn't show the fly swatters, did I? Where are the fly swatters? That's like one of my first things on my list. How did I skip the fly swatters? Fly swatters. These make great spray-through stencils, and they also can be dipped into acrylic paints and applied that way. Cardboard is also a good one. Let's go down. I think I got everything. Is that possible that I didn't go down the list, but I still remembered everything? And just another thing that I'm throwing out there, vegetables are a great thing to print with. Carved potatoes, fun to do with the kids. A lemon cut in half, it makes a great kind of stamp. You take away some of the moisture, you know, pat it dry. Celery and onion, you know, look in your refrigerator at that food that's going bad that you don't know what to do with. Stamp with it. Isn't that horrible? That's horrible of me. I think I got everything on my list. So I knew I couldn't do a whole video in 20 minutes of all my toy box stuff. Celery works, but only for a day. So I just thought doing it here in a live stream, I'd be able to put everything together in one place, and it would be here for those people who want some ideas on what to use for things around that not everybody thinks of. Not everybody thinks of doing some of this stuff. And then I hope that gave you an idea of what's in my toy box as well. I hope that helped. I'd like to put my stencil somewhere because it didn't turn out half bad. It didn't turn out half bad. So thanks everyone. That is my toy box. I'm always adding things to it. Sometimes I take some things away, but not very often. That's my toy box. That's what those are the things that I like playing with, that I forget to use sometimes. And I will be making a binder clip with tags, prompts, to remind myself to use some of the things in my toy box. And one of my toy box, or one of my prompts on my mixed media list is something from the toy box. So you guys will know what I'm talking about when I say my toy box. I play around with a lot of stuff. So thanks everyone for spending some time with me. I am planning a little toy box kit in the near future, but I will be offering those kits to my Patreon people first. So it may be a week or two before I offer them to everybody else. So that is one of the perks of being a Patreon person. If you want to help support me on Patreon, I do give them first dibs to anything that I offer for sale before I offer it to everybody else. It's just one of those perks. So thanks everyone for all your thumbs up. It was a lot of fun just to mess around with the toy box, and I hope you guys had fun too. So, thanks everyone for spending some time with me, and I will see you on Tuesday. I am not sure exactly what I'll be doing on Tuesday. I'm hoping to get further along in the mixed media prompts videos so I can do all of that. Thank you, everyone, for 40 thumbs up. You guys are fabulous. I'll see you on Tuesday. We'll have some fun. By that time, with all those videos that I plan on making, I'm just going to want to do some collage or something. So, thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. Look at my inky hands. Bye.